Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're cracking open Gary W. Eldred's The Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing.
Okay.
And before you seasoned pros click away, trust me, there's something here for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you've been in the game for a while, it's always a good idea to revisit the fundamentals right.
Right.
Plus, Eldred promises to deliver a profit-generating introduction, and who couldn't use a little more profit in their lives.
You know what I find interesting is that Eldred doesn't just dive right into strategies.
Yeah.
He dedicates a surprising amount of time to mindset, which is so crucial, but often overlooked.
It's true. He makes this really intriguing point about why most people shy away from real estate investing, and it's not always about the money.
Interesting.
He says it often boils down to self-belief or the
Yeah.
lack thereof.
It's like that classic Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Real estate investing, like many things in life, starts with that inner conviction. You have to believe in your ability to learn, strategize, and yes, make money.
He calls it the wall of excuses. All
Yeah.
those mental blocks we put up that prevent us from taking action.
Right.
Have you ever found yourself building that wall?
Sure.
I don't have enough time. It's
Right.
too risky. I wouldn't even know where to start. Eldred argues that these are often limiting beliefs, not insurmountable obstacles.
Absolutely. It's easy to get caught up in analysis paralysis, especially with something as significant as real estate. But Eldred reminds us that action often precedes clarity. You don't have to have all the answers to get started. You just have to be willing to take that first step.
Which brings us to another myth Eldred tackles. Waiting for the perfect time to invest.
Oh, okay.
He actually calls out some wildly inaccurate predictions from the past. Remember back in 1977, when Nation's Business warned that housing prices were approaching a whopping $50,000 and that future price rises wouldn't be as impressive? Imagine if everyone had hit the brakes based on that prediction.
Wow. Yeah.
Wild, right?
Yeah. Or how about in 1980 when the book The Coming Real Estate Crash hit the shelves? People have been predicting the demise of real estate for decades, and yet here we are. It's a good reminder that market timing is notoriously difficult, even for seasoned experts.
And let's not forget Money Magazine in 1985 declaring that the golden age of risk-free run-ups in home prices is gone. If only we had a crystal ball, right?
Right.
So instead of fixating on timing the market, what should investors be focusing on?
It's about finding good deals, doing your due diligence, and having a solid long-term strategy. You want to be in a position to weather the inevitable fluctuations in the market.
So a proactive approach rather than a reactive one.
Exactly.
Love it. Now, I know we're just scratching the surface here,
Sure.
but Eldred's emphasis on mindset really resonated with me. It's a powerful reminder that success in real estate, much like any other endeavor, starts with the right mindset.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating that belief in yourself and your ability to achieve your goals. It's about facing those fears and excuses head on and taking those first courageous steps towards building the real estate portfolio of your dreams.
Okay, so we've tackled mindset.
Okay.
Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools in a real estate investor's arsenal, leverage. This is where Eldred really gets into the nuts and bolts of how to amplify your returns.
He uses an example that really brings the power of leverage to life. Imagine putting down $10,000 on a $100,000 property. With a modest 4% appreciation rate in a few years, you could be looking at $55,275 in equity. That's the magic of leverage at work.
It's like, he says, it's not what you have, it's how you use E.
Right.
But of course, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Yes.
Eldred stresses that leverage is a double-edged sword.
Exactly. While leverage can supercharge your profits, it can also magnify your losses if you're not careful. That's why it's crucial to understand the mechanics of leverage and how to use it responsibly.
So let's break it down.
Okay.
Essentially, leverage allows you to control a larger asset than you could afford outright using borrowed money. It's like a force multiplier in real estate. But you're right, we need to use it wisely.
Think of it like this. You're using a lever to lift a heavy object. The longer the lever, the less force you need to lift it. But if you're not careful, that lever can slip and cause serious damage. It's the same with leverage in real estate. You're using borrowed money to amplify your returns, but you need to make sure you can handle the debt if the market takes a downturn.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So how can investors use leverage effectively without taking on unnecessary risk?
It all starts with thorough due diligence. You need to carefully analyze potential investments, taking into account factors like interest rates, vacancy rates, potential repairs, and the overall health of the market. Don't just look at the potential upside, understand the risks involved as well.
It's about being realistic, not just optimistic, right?
Precisely. And remember, leverage is a tool, not a strategy in itself. It's one piece of the puzzle. You still need a sound investment strategy, a clear understanding of your financial situation, and the ability to manage risk effectively.
Speaking of managing risk, Eldred does delve into some low or no cash down techniques that can be particularly appealing to investors looking to maximize leverage.
Sure.
He talks about FHA loans, which have a bit of a misconception surrounding them.
Many people think FHA loans are only for low-income first-time homebuyers, but that's not entirely accurate. While they're designed to make homeownership more accessible, they can also be a valuable tool for investors, especially those just starting out.
Right. Eldred points out that FHA loans often come with lower down payment requirements than conventional loans, which can be a game changer for investors with limited capital. And he even explains how VA loans, which are designed for veterans, can be assumed by non-veterans under certain circumstances, opening up another avenue for potential financing.
Wow, that's good to know.
Right.
Yeah. He also dedicates a good portion of the book to seller financing, which can be a win-win for both buyers and sellers.
Seller financing always sounds a little mysterious to me. Can you demystify it for us?
Essentially, with seller financing, the seller acts as the lender instead of a traditional bank.
Right.
This can be appealing to buyers because they might be able to secure more favorable loan terms, such as lower interest rates or a more flexible repayment schedule.
And for the seller.
It can be a way to attract a wider pool of potential buyers, especially in a competitive market. Plus, they can potentially earn interest income on the loan. It's about thinking outside the traditional financing box and finding creative solutions that work for everyone involved.
I love that Eldred encourages this kind of outside-the-box thinking. He even reminds readers that it never hurts to ask about seller financing, even if it's not explicitly offered. You never know what kind of creative arrangements you might be able to negotiate.
Absolutely. The worst they can say is no, right?
Exactly. So we've covered mindset and financing, but what about finding those hidden gems, those diamond-in-the-rough deals that get investors really excited?
Ah, yes, the thrill of the hunt. Eldred doesn't disappoint. He dedicates a whole chapter to uncovering below-market deals, and it's packed with actionable strategies that can give you an edge in any market.
So we're talking about finding those hidden real estate gems. Eldred lays out 27 ways to find or create below-market deals, and it's like a treasure map for investors. He even suggests looking for properties with seller financing right in your advertising.
It's brilliant because it helps you pre-qualify potential sellers who might be more open to creative financing options.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's all about targeting your efforts effectively.
He also talks about connecting with real estate agents who specialize in foreclosures and REOs.
Yeah.
Now, I know foreclosures can be a sensitive topic, but Eldred approaches it from the perspective of providing solutions, not capitalizing on misfortune.
Right, and it's important to remember that REOs or real estate-owned properties aren't always in terrible shape. Sometimes they're just stuck in limbo after a foreclosure, and banks are eager to get them off their books. That can create opportunities for savvy investors.
It's like finding those diamonds in a rough, right?
Exactly. And because banks aren't usually in the business of holding on to properties for the long term, they're often more motivated to sell quickly, which can work in your favor.
So it can be a win-win.
Right.
It's about understanding the motivations of all parties involved. Eldred also suggests tapping into your network for leads, attending real estate auctions, and even just driving for dollars.
Driving for dollars.
Yeah.
Now that sounds intriguing.
It is. It's basically driving around neighborhoods you're interested in and looking for properties that look distressed or vacant.
Okay.
It's a more hands-on approach, but it can uncover hidden opportunities that others might miss.
It's like old school prospecting, but in the real estate world. And in today's digital age, it's easy to get caught up in online listings and forget the power of good old-fashioned boots-on-the-ground research.
Exactly. And here's a subtle but important tip from Eldred. Don't reveal too much about your improvement plans to sellers during negotiations.
Ah, yes, the art of strategic silence. It's not about being dishonest. It's about not tipping your hand too early in the game.
Right. You want to secure the best possible deal without giving away your entire strategy.
Think of it like a poker game.
Okay.
You don't want to show all your cards before the hand is played.
Right.
It's about being a savvy negotiator and understanding the dynamics of the deal.
Love that analogy. Now, let's say we found the perfect property and negotiated a killer deal. Eldred doesn't stop there. He's all about creating lasting value that goes beyond the initial purchase.
He's a big proponent of investors thinking of themselves as providers of a superior product, not just landlords collecting rent.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your perspective and approaching real estate investing like a true business.
He talks about understanding local market trends and tenant preferences. Are you in a college town? A family-oriented suburb? Knowing your target audience is crucial for making smart decisions about renovations and upgrades.
Right. You wouldn't market a beachfront condo the same way you would a cozy cabin in the woods.
Right.
It's about tailoring your approach to appeal to the desires and needs of your ideal tenant.
And Eldred stresses the importance of creating inviting interiors that go beyond the bare minimum. He calls it the Martha Stewart makeover.
Now, don't let the name fool you. It's not about going over the top with frills and fancies.
Okay.
It's about those thoughtful touches that make a property feel warm, welcoming, and well-maintained. Think fresh paint, updated fixtures, and maybe some stylish yet durable furniture.
So like almost staging it.
Kind of like staging, but maybe just a notch down.
Yeah, it's about creating a space where people can envision themselves living and thriving. And it
Right.
doesn't have to break the bank either.
Exactly. Often it's the small details that make the biggest impact. Things like fresh flowers, tasteful artwork, or even just making sure the landscaping is well kept can go a long way in attracting and retaining quality tenants.
It's all about those little touches.
Mm.
He also talks about highlighting those hot button features that really make a property shine and command top dollar.
Things like in-unit laundry, extra storage space, or energy-efficient appliances. These are the features that tenants are willing to pay a premium for because they add real value to their lives.
So really homing in on what people are looking for.
It's about going that extra mile to create a truly desirable living experience. And when you create that kind of value, it shows in your bottom line. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Gary Eldred's The Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing, I think the biggest takeaway here is that successful real estate investing is about more than just crunching numbers and chasing profits. It's about mindset, strategy, and a long-term vision.
It's about understanding that real estate is more than just bricks and mortar. It's about people. It's about creating spaces where people can live, work, and thrive.
Yeah.
And when you approach it with that perspective, you're not just building a portfolio, you're building a legacy.
And on that note, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you on the next deep dive.
See you then.